Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Penguin by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're back with episode 7, the penultimate episode of season 1 of the Penguin, and maybe the final season of Penguin. We don't know what's going to happen to Oswald Cobb in the finale, right? He could die. They could deviate. They could just do a fork in the road here.
They could. I don't know that he will. I love the word penultimate, by the way.
Big
yeah,
fan.
I know. We got one episode left. I couldn't really tell. I have my assumptions on where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned in the last episode, I think this is like did I say it was a one season thing? I feel like one of us said it was a one season thing.
I think you've been adamant on that. I said maybe there's a possibility for a second season. I think it's possible. But I don't know if it's actually going to happen with the way things are going down here. But
I mean, things are going down quick too.
After this episode, I personally kind of just want this to be a one season thing, and that Oz gets killed in the end. But that's just me. This episode was dark, man. It was titled Top Hat, which why do you think it was called Top Hat? What's the meaning behind that one? Because usually like all of them have had like a certain like obviousness to them. But why is this one called Top Hat?
I really didn't quite get the reference. I mean, I feel like I remembered photos of the Penguin wearing a top hat, like in comic images or something like that, but I didn't quite get the reference here. Yeah.
Did I mention it, or was I just thinking it in my head? I think I had mentioned that I think we're going to have to get a flashback episode at some point with... Yeah, and I was pretty spot on. I think I said it was going to be this episode too. I'm almost positive I said like we'll probably start with a flashback, and then it's pretty obvious what's happening here, right? He sent Vic to go get an army. He's going to get all his like alliance of all the gangs. He's probably, if I had to guess, it'll be one of those situations where he's about to die, like literally about to die, on the precipice of dying. Sophia has a gun to his head, and then she's like shot out of nowhere by Vic or someone else because all the triads and other gangs came together to save Oz or something. Like, if I had to guess, that's how I think it goes down. But I was expecting this flashback in the beginning. I just wasn't expecting it to be this damn dark. And we both agreed. We both mentioned that he had some sort of hand in his brother's death. It was just painfully obvious. It just felt like that was the direction it was heading. Although, we start with this weird little creepy ass kid with the little comb over. And I can't quite, I was going back and forth in my head. Like, did he kill him on purpose? Did he kill his brothers on purpose?
Oh, he
did. And I came to the conclusion that he did, like very quickly. So, I mean, when there's a lever on the outside of the door, they're already giving us hints that he's not a dumb kid. Like, he knows who Rex is. He knows what Rex does. And he still looks up to him. And then he's got that little creepy smile while he's like nestled on his mother while watching a movie. And there's just like a weird vibe between him and his mom, more him towards his mom.
Yeah.
That it's like he's literally, I mean, did you get the impression that the kid was like in love with his mother?
I did.
In some sense?
Like literally the first minute with him just walking up to his mom, trying to help out. Let's watch a movie. It's a date. Like I was cringing so hard watching that. Kind of made me vomit in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, and then when she went to go talk to the other brothers, she was like, he was like jealous of the attention she was given to Jack, his older brother.
Yeah,
and I mean, I guess that's normal, but there was just like an extra element
like
of weirdness.
Jealous. It was really bizarre.
It was a bizarre thing, and I'll be honest with you, it was a bit too dark for my liking. Now, say what you want. It's a show; they can do what they want. It's an artistic choice, but I want to make one comment about, actually I'll save that comment for the end. But no, I think right now is the time. So, all right. I'm going to say one comment about Penguin. Okay?
All right.
And I think that this episode made it a little bit clear for me. And we're the type of people who've watched a lot of shows. Most people nowadays have seen a lot of shows, have seen a lot of like heroes pop up, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I want to make one comment, and it's kind of the general philosophy. It's kind of like a gut instinct when you watch a lot of shows, movies, and you have characters that you're rooting for in a series, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to think that Penguin is falling into the same trap that the Joker movie did, or the first one did, which is you make the character so irredeemable that at a certain point, there is no rooting interest in this character. Because the moment I saw the flashback where he lets his brothers, like he keeps them in the sewage area, which you already knew what was going to happen there, right? Because the water, it's raining, all that. Just knew. And then the moment you realize that this kid did it on purpose is the point where you're like, as a fan, as somebody who you see he's a scumbag throughout the whole series, but there's still that element of, oh, but he loves his mom. Oh, but he just wants to do it for his neighborhood. Oh, but and you find different reasons, like, oh, they've had a foot on his neck his whole life. But you keep on going, you just find out that he's just borderline just a piece of crap. Like, and no matter what happened to him, he's just always been downright evil to a point where you can't root for him. And I think the difference between, I'm not going to call him a protagonist anymore, but the difference between a main character like Oz or the Joaquin Phoenix Joker and other anti-hero type characters like a Tony Soprano or Walter White, or those are the two that are coming to mind, is that those characters, for the most part, maybe not Walt at a certain point does cross some lines, but and even Tony, but there's still some element where you see that sort of moral quandary, and they're still fighting for some sort of goodness in some way. And here with Oz, you just lose all sense of that. And I found myself early in this episode rooting for Sal and Sophia. Was that just me, or what was your thoughts on, did he cross that invisible line of, this is too far for me, I can't root for this guy anymore?
Man, it sure feels close. I'm not fully on your side just yet. Like, I still think there's some interest in his character, but I do kind of feel like this show is really trying to make us hate him, like in preparation for some big showdown with like Batman Oz or something. Because it's definitely not making me like him. Like, I mean, the backstory that I'm getting, it's not doing him any favors at the very least. I wouldn't say that it's made me just 100% disgusted with him. But yeah, maybe how
much more does he got to do to make you 100% disgusted with him?
I mean, he's got to kill Vic at this point.
Okay, so you're like at 99.9%. I'm at 90.
Yeah, I'm up there. Like I said, this show does not make me like Oz in any way,
dude. Vic is one temper tantrum away from calling him the wrong name before getting a bullet to the head. All right.
What did you call me?
Did you call me a penguin? He's one moment away from that happening. The one thing that stuck out into my mind is, man, Vic should have got on that damn bus with his girlfriend and never looked back. Because if he would have gotten this little bit of intel that this guy actually killed his own brothers, I don't think Vic would have stayed with this guy, because Vic will never be Blood. So if he's willing to do that to Blood, and by the way, you see it later in the episode too. I mean, Sophia brings in the rigged G-Wagon with all the bombs, which, how dumb. I mean, there's a couple of points we're going to put in this episode that were just ridiculous. But she, brings in the G-Wagon full of bombs. He leaves all his men who just sacrificed their lives to pretty much save him from Saul. Doesn't tell them he doesn't even at least scream out. He doesn't even
shout,
run.
Bomb.
He doesn't say anything. He just dips, okay? Somehow he gets away with this freaking bad leg. I was hoping like he would have just been blown to smithereens. And then he goes into the exact same room where he left his brothers to die. And he so doesn't care about that event, which, by the way, just how sick Oz is as a character. I'm disgusted by his character. And by the way, I saw an interview, and I didn't say it earlier in the season, with Colin Farrell. And he says, at first you root for the guy, and then you keep on reading and reading and reading the script, and you hate him and hate him and hate him more and more and more. And that's the guy who plays Oz. So he falls into that hole where he left his brothers to die, and there's not a single bit of acknowledgement of where he just went down into, right? Not to mention how disgusting it is that he would make his base of operations. Like, we thought that the tunnels, the reason he was putting it in the tunnels is because this was a place of happy memories for him. But maybe it actually was a place of happy memories, because that's the place where he went and killed his brothers. So
That's true. I'm gonna be honest. That part, I don't want to say it went over my head. I just didn't think about it that way. But that is pretty dark.
Yeah,
It's like he's just in love with his crimes, I guess, at this point.
yeah, it's like that famous like anecdote that you hear. I think what movie is it that they say, oh, the serial killer goes back to the place where he
they
he
go
did
back
his
to the scene of the
crimes.
crimes. They got to take it back in. They got to relive the moment, feel the experience again.
This is kind of like Oz doing that in some way,
Yeah.
and it's like a weird. And let's be clear. He wasn't the one who came up with the idea to go play this game. This kid seems like somebody who doesn't like to leave the house because of his leg and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the one common theme with Oz over and over is he makes bad decisions when he gets angry, right? He didn't go there. It wasn't premeditated or anything like that. It was, he got angry. He's a hothead. He got angry and they were playing a game and they didn't really, take into account his feelings, right? That he can't go down, a ladder like that. And what does he do? He made an impulsive decision and literally killed his brothers. He did the same thing with Alberto Falcone, right? And then he did the same thing probably with the
Maroney's family. Yeah.
I mean, so he does this over and over again. He almost killed what's his name? The guy who Sophia killed, Viti, Johnny Viti.
Yeah, Johnny Viti. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a hothead, and when he gets angry, he doesn't really think about the consequences of his decisions, but he ruins his mother's life entirely.
Oh yeah. And it's not only that he doesn't think about the decisions and he just
doesn't
makes
regret them.
Rash decisions. Exactly. He doesn't regret them at all. Like he makes a snap decision and lives with it and just doesn't give a crap. Like he just doesn't care.
That's like the freakiest thing about his character. He's actually a psychopath or a sociopath. I don't know what the distinction would be, but he literally is. He doesn't seem to be a guy who has any sort of empathy, right? No. That's like a tall sign. Like when he's talking to Vic and he says, "F your guilt," yeah. Go, pretty much he doesn't care, bro. Like
snap out of it, dude. Go give me my army.
All right, so I don't think we got to do a summary. Anybody who's listening to this knows what happened in this episode, but one of the two annoying things that really bothered me in this episode. Sal Maroni. I mean, loser of the year.
Know. Come on.
Brother,
going out like that.
You don't got a pair of handcuffs? You don't got some rope? You know what I mean? You're going in there, no escape plan. You're going into a guy's drug lair, no backup. You're just going straight in there right now. Okay? Another thing. And by the way, if I'm Saul, I would have at least cut off a couple of fingers of Saul's in the apartment. Like straight up.
Of penguins, you mean?
Hell yeah. Something to at least make him like, nah, don't mess with me, bro. Like,
I mean, deform him more than he is?
Yeah, 100%.
I still want to know what happened to his face.
Yeah, maybe we'll get that story. Do we need any more backstory for him? We found out everything we needed to know. We found out what he did to his brothers. We found out what gives him the will to live, and his thirst and greed is about giving his mother a better life. His weird relationship with is almost Norman Batesy.
It is very Norman Batesy, honestly.
Except that he's the weirdo. The mom wasn't like initially, although she was kind of weird too. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, they were all weird. I mean, the Bates Motel, like in the show, they were weird.
I didn't watch the show, so maybe you can speak more to that. But I've seen the movie, and the mother was very much the weird one there. Here, it seems like she's weird too. Don't get me wrong; she is very strange. Frances.
She is like she almost also feels like she has a crush on Oz in a weird way. Like the motherly love situation just feels a little
too much,
a little off.
It's just weird. It's just weird. Too weird. This one, guys. This episode was a bit. You said something right there that stuck out to me. But yeah, the other annoying thing, man, was Saul being just absolutely a numbnuts with the way he decided to handle the Oz situation. Mm-hmm. And then Sophia having like a therapy session with the mother. Like, I'm sorry. Rule number 1, that's like Walt's mistake with when he takes the guy hostage. Mm-hmm. Crazy 8, whatever his name was.
I remember what you're talking about.
And he's just talking to the guy, learning his life story. And you can't be talking to the hostage like that. You can't. In this situation, she's just a pawn to get at this guy. Right? And so Sophia's always having like this crisis of of identity. Am I doing the right thing? I'm just like my father. You're like, shut up. Just like handle your business. So I'm glad she at least blew up the drug facility at the end of the episode. But I honestly wish that Francis would have been dead in the trunk. Like I was just waiting for any
I was kind of hoping that was the case too. I thought it was going to be a bomb, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's his mom.
Well, because he's taken us there, or taken me there to such a degree that I hated his guts in this episode. That I was like, man, I hope she did kill his mom. Like I hope she just did it, and we finally just see this guy suffer for his evil acts.
Well, I do think we got it right in the last episode. I mean, Sophia didn't have it in her to kill either Vic or Oz's mom, Frances. In the moment there,
she can't kill any innocent people, which is admirable, right? Except for her whole family.
Yeah, literally, except for her whole family.
she low key threatened Gia too, huh?
I didn't think so, really. I mean,
she kind of let things. She let the silence sit a little bit. Like, I'm not actually threatening you, but I want you to interpret this as a potential. I want you to be scared of me, but I'm not actually, in my head, I know I ain't going to do nothing. But she's thinking, let me scare the crap out of this little girl so she doesn't snitch.
I mean, it definitely wasn't an outright threat, but it was an awkward scene. I mean, dude, this whole episode was just kind of like awkwardly uncomfortable.
The whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything.
There's one scene that was super intense and uncomfortable. How about extra scummy move on Sophia's part? Not only did she kill this little girl's parents, right? Which, they were bad people and all that, but they were good parents, seemingly. But she abandoned this girl to an orphanage and doesn't even take her in like as her own. This is her little cousin.
That's true too. Well, she's treating her just like her father. This is why I think she goes into like a mental breakdown halfway through the episode. She's treating the girl like her father treated her.
100%.
Sends her off to some place. Just she didn't do anything.
Oh, and sends her off to a place in response to her killing a bunch of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Which by the way, what was the number of women that he killed? He killed like 10 women. It seemed to be about.
It was out there 11, maybe.
It seemed like there was like 10 or 11 people at that house that day too.
Yeah,
which is kind of, if they actually did that on purpose, that would be pretty deep.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we haven't talked about this, but Oz and Sophia do have some sort of common thread here. I mean, not completely. I think Sophia is more honorable than Oz, but they both did axe their family pretty much.
Yeah, that's true, but. I mean, we're talking about murdering your brothers versus a bunch of grown adults who are not necessarily like
it's not
immediate family, and all kind of threw you into prison for 10 years. So
that's why I was saying it's not equal, but what I'm trying to say is they both have some semblance.
There's similarities
of that.
I mean, there's definitely parallels here.
But you can at least see with Sophia that she regrets things. Like she's not a monster, so to speak. Right.
I'm 50-50 on her. Like there's some moments where I'm like, she's pretty, well,
she's an attorney,
human, she's good, but yeah. And then there's other moments where she looks at the camera a little weird, and I'm like, okay, we're going there. And then there's other moments where she just acts as her whole family. So I mean, it's hard to really kind of make up my mind on her. I feel like, I mean, the outcome of this is just going to be Oz on top, and it's prep for prime time with Batman. Like I can't think of another outcome, because I don't who Gigante, who is this Gigante when it comes to any movies. I'm not familiar with it personally. Again, maybe it's in the comics.
No. She's not surviving this series. She's not.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about a lot of things. I don't think Francis is going to survive the series either.
I don't think Francis is either.
I think at the very least, and this is probably what leads us to the big showdown with Batman, is once Sophia kills Francis.
Yeah.
Or maybe Oz will kill Francis, because remember, he made her a promise that he would be the one who does it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what makes him snap. And so he, instead of thinking about his mission of life is gone, of giving his mother the life that she wants, he goes on to like, I'm going to shape Gotham. Like, I'm going to be the king of Gotham type of thing. which then inevitably leads to, it's kind of like that situation where, you ever see like Narco, like any cartel shows?
It, but I didn't get into it.
Like I feel like the U.S. historically, because that show's about like it's like Pablo Escobar, and then you got there's like a undercover cop situation going on there too.
Yeah,
but Pablo at a certain point, like he started off low level, and I feel like when you're like, at least those stories always have like this common theme where there's this gang lord, he's up and coming, but it's kind of convenient because all these other countries have an interest, specifically like the US and other countries like in the area, they have an interest of those gangs being taken out. But then at a certain point, Pablo gets too big, and so now he becomes a problem for the US. And then eventually, once you go on that radar of being a problem for a major country, you can just start doing the little timer, bro. Like it's just a matter of time before you're gone. And sure enough, I feel like that's what's going to happen with Penguin and Batman, because right now, Batman can't be everywhere all at once, but he pretty much just takes out the figureheads. So as long as you don't get too big, you're good in Gotham. Like if you're just doing petty crimes in Gotham, you're good, because he has to be busy with guys like Carmine Falcone and now eventually Penguin, the Joker. Like you don't ever see him going after like a guy who robbed like a 7-Eleven. You know, he doesn't do that. Spider-Man, on the other hand, you got a problem everywhere, pretty much.
Hold on though. Didn't the Batman movie like open with him in the dark just like beating up some thugs in like a little convenience store or something?
But that was more of an outlier though. That was more of a story
right
you tell.
Wrong
place. Exactly. Wrong place, wrong time. You know, that was just pure unlucky. It's kind of like, you know, like people get struck by lightning, but it's very, you know, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So Batman is kind of that situation. Like if you get beat up by Batman, like you had it coming, like there was no avoiding it. But 7 times out of 10, you're probably good in Gotham to go do what you want. It's kind of like, you know, California has like a law where you can rob like $950 worth of stuff. You're good. They're not going to arrest you. Yeah. They actually, apparently the stores now are charging like $951 or something like that.
You know, it's funny. I was just saying, I saw something where someone had like raised the prices really, really, really high, and they were like giving a discount on checkout or something. But that was like years ago.
You'd have to probably do whatever loophole you can for something dumb like that. All right, so we meet Rex, Oz's idol, when we can see where Oz gets his sort of sense of style. The guy was very gaudy looking, you know, famous actor too. If you can look that up on IMDb, the guy who played Rex. I'm blanking on his name.
I'll take a look.
We didn't get what I did think we were gonna get, which was, you know what I would have loved, Zach?
No, not this episode. That's what you would have loved.
I would have loved if there was some repercussion that Oz faced for killing his brothers. In other words, instead of his leg already being messed up, that his leg got messed up because, like, let's say he was doing that, he got mad at them for another reason, but then he fell off the ladder, broke his leg, like shattered his leg in a million places. And so that leg is a constant reminder of his 2 brothers that he left for dead down there.
Mm.
Like that would have been a nice little wrinkle for that, why that scar remains.
Yeah, but then you would have liked him. I don't think.
No, you wouldn't have liked him. You wouldn't have liked him.
You wouldn't have disliked him as much, I guess, is the point that I'm trying to make. Because I can't see a showdown between Penguin and Batman where you kind of like Penguin, because then that makes Batman feel kind of scummy.
No.
It doesn't work for me.
I thought that too when I was watching this episode. I said, are they just making him out to be so purely evil that when this goes down with Batman, you're rooting for Batman the whole time, you're not rooting for Penguin at all? Right?
Yeah. It kind of feels like it's going to be, you know, just Penguin is ultimate bad. I feel like this show is less about like whether we like him, whether we not like him. I think they have to toe the line to make us interested in the show, but the whole purpose of the show is just to build him up to be like this king of this empire that he's built. Like I think that's solely it. Us to get the sense of scale as we move into like a Batman movie, so that we don't think that Penguin is what he was in the old Batman, right? Like I'm talking about like just this little underground guy. Like I feel like that's the whole purpose of this season.
It's trying to make him a formidable force, and he is. Oh, is that the name of the guy who plays Rex?
Cancelmi, yeah.
Louis Cancelmi. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, but I'll look at his profile later.
Irishman, Killers of the Flower Moon, things like that.
Yeah. Killers of the Flower Moon is what I remember him from most recently.
Yeah.
I think. Who did he play in that?
Kelsey Morrison. He was also in some of Boardwalk Empire.
Boardwalk Empire. I did watch that one completely. That's a great show. That's a fantastic show. You've never seen that, but that's a fantastic show.
I've thought about starting that.
You want to talk about a fantastic character there? That Buscemi in that is incredible. That's Sopranos level type of good performance. He's also in Sopranos. He has a role that's really memorable. Okay, so what was the last thing I was saying?
I was talking about how I feel like the whole purpose of the show is just to build it up, so that we kind of get a sense of the scale. It's not about whether we like him or dislike him. I just think we're going to end on not liking him.
You reminded me of where I was going to go. Because the Matt Reeves Batman universe, and I haven't said that since like episode 1,
mm-hmm.
because it's so grounded and it's
gritty,
extravagant.
Yeah.
It's not extravagant. It's not ridiculous, right? Like if this was Superman, you got Lex Luthor, fighting him, or if this was Daredevil, you got Kingpin, like fist fighting Daredevil.
Long since I've seen Daredevil.
I can't imagine any hand-to-hand combat between the Penguin and Batman. So I am interested to know what is going to be incredibly interesting about this next Batman. Like, what is it going to be? Like, what's the odd wrinkle? Because as I understand it, I don't remember or I don't recall Penguin ever being ever defeated. Like he's just always there. Even like when he goes to Arkham, like he's there. He's always doing his thing. He is literally, he's kind of like Wormtail in Harry Potter. He's just always manages to survive. He's literally a rat. He really isn't like a penguin. He's like a rat.
Well, I don't
think he'll be the main villain.
Him to a rat in this episode. So yeah, he's definitely like a rat.
I don't imagine that he's going to be the main villain. I think he will be a key figure in the next Batman movie, but I don't think he will be the main villain. Just don't.
That's it. That's an interesting prediction. It could very well be the case.
Yeah. All right. So we discussed the flashback. We discussed his mother pretty much giving him the mission of, I need a good life. I deserve a happy life, Oswald.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. We did not talk about the most intense scene of the episode, which is Francis and Sophia having a little powwow. Francis stole that scene. It's probably her scene of the series. It's the scene they'd play at the award show if she was nominated for an Emmy. That would be the scene for sure. She even gets triggered into this PTSD moment about her sons. And in a way, we get to avoid an extra flashback because of how good her performance is there. Because she takes us back there, and they film it in such a well done way that we're able to imagine what the rest of the night played out like, right? Which is her at the window. Do you hear the rain? Her talking to a cop saying, "Isn't that your job? Shouldn't you be?" We saw the whole flashback from that scene without needing to do the extra flashback, which I was thankful for. Anything to keep us out of the past of Oswald's life was good enough for me.
I think she definitely stole the episode with that scene alone. I mean, I love that we didn't have to go back and watch anymore. Like you just said, dark little Oswald here. Yeah, but it also, man, it also adds to it because I feel like he just has let his mother be in the dark. I don't know that she knows.
Of course she doesn't know. Of course she doesn't.
Like, that's crazy though.
But what if she does know? But she doesn't know.
She doesn't know. Like there's no way she knows. But earlier in the season, like she made it seem like he had something to do with it. Like she had suspicions or something. she might have suspicions or have had suspicions. But man, again, it just highlights how much of a scumbag this little Oz kid was. You just murder your brothers. Your mother's losing her freaking mind.
And he doesn't tell her.
Cops. You don't say anything.
It's crazy. I mean, it's sociopathic, bro. Like, it's legit. It's disturbing, and it's disturbing because it's kids. That's why it's too dark. It's like, you ever seen that movie with Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood? They're both like really, really young. Like, they're young kids. And Macaulay Culkin is an absolute maniac.
No, I don't think so. I'm familiar with Home Alone, but
it's pretty disturbing, bro. Nah, if you see this movie, you'll never watch Home Alone the same again. You'll be fine because Home Alone is great. But
Home Alone is amazing.
I'd never let my kid play a role like that. It just never. It's like these parents that let their kids be like in these demonic movies, like the Poltergeist, for example. Like we were talking about in our Halloween special, which, by the way, I know Halloween's over, but if you guys want to laugh for 2 hours, that you can tune into our Halloween special and see our list of scary movies, our traumatic stories, and all that. And by the way, thanks for tuning in. This has been probably one of our most successful months of the year for the podcast. So thank you all for enjoying the shows. And we're also seeing some love on our Peaky Blinders content, which is seeing a little bit of a comeback. I think we might be the only people in the world who did an episodic, episode by episode commentary of Peaky Blinders, because every other podcast I've seen gave up about 3 seasons in. Like, most of them just did not do a full thing, and it's just one of the best shows ever. But
man, we're in it for the long haul. I'm just waiting for that movie now.
I'm just waiting for them to like give us a random call. If anybody wants to help us petition out there, they give us a random call and they fly us out to London for the premiere. Like, that would be insanely cool.
Oh yeah,
we get to like interview Cillian Murphy and all the cast. That would be insane.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, that would be nuts. That would be literally nuts. All right, I'd make a whole vacation. I'd go stay there for a month. Anyways,
heck yeah.
What do you think's gonna happen with Julian, the psychiatrist, whatever you want to call this guy?
I think he played his part.
Was that just like a random ass? And by the way, was he in the car? Did he just skedaddle the moment he opened the door in the G-Wagon? He just skedaddles. Like, he opens the door and just starts running away.
Was he the one driving it?
I think he was the one driving that thing.
I didn't see the face of the person driving it, but whoever was driving it literally just dipped. They opened the door and they bolted back.
It had to have been him.
A locked door, apparently, but
it had to have been him. Sophia has him by the balls. So it was one of those things where who else can she trust to go do this suicide mission? But in what world are we supposed to believe that this guy was able to run away? Oz didn't have a guard by the door, nothing. I don't know.
They said the door was locked, so who knows that he got away and lived.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I just know he dipped.
Speaking of how pathetic Oz is, let's talk about the fight with Saul Maroni. It was a little sad to see that Saul has a heart attack mid-fight and dies.
I know. I was so depressed about how that ended. I'm like, really? After all of this, like, that's how you're gonna go out?
And even there, though, it's probably the most respectable Oz is all episode, is that he actually wanted a real fight. And it was actually the only part of the episode that was humorous, because he goes, "Oh, what the?" Like, he literally died mid-fight, so now he can't even. Yeah. He recites an entire victory monologue to a corpse.
Yeah.
That was the type of monologue that somebody delivers when the guy's like bloody, beaten, and bruised, and you're just like, "Yeah, you couldn't beat me, Sal. All these years you couldn't beat me. I got a bum leg too." You know, he was doing the whole victory monologue to the corpse, and then he had to shoot him.
I know.
So that he could hide the fact
even more.
Well, he defiles the corpse so that people, think that he won the fight. If not, it's like, what happened to him?
I don't know, man. He just keeled over. I don't know.
He got the ring back, by the way. He got the Albert Falcone ring back.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's gonna end this season with a fistful of rings. We gotta get the Gigante ring next, whatever that's gonna be.
I just want to Sophia sent enough explosives down there to blow up a quarter of Gotham. Like, I don't know. It was, the plot armor on Oz was thick in this episode. It was just very thick.
Yeah, it was. He got out of there pretty darn quick too, even with his bum leg. And
Oh yeah,
blown to smithereens ladder. I was I was kind of expecting somebody to have to go down and save him.
It'll be interesting to see what happens because he does get captured at the end of the episode.
Yeah, that like a detective.
And Sophia seems to have been reborn for about the third time this season. So,
yeah, really.
Because I mean, you think about it, she has been reborn about 3 different times. You know, we see
literally.
her. We see her at first, and then we see her whole episode when she takes out her family, and then now this third one. So we'll see if she's actually fully turned into Hangman Sophia. Well, we're gonna find out in the next episode because there's no more time left. But I think we could at least right now kind of make our predictions of what is going to happen in the finale of Penguin.
Before we do that, am I wrong in thinking that the detective calling him Penguin is the first time he's been called Penguin this entire season?
No, you're wrong.
Okay.
He's been called Penguin several times by Johnny Vitti, by Albert Falcone, by a bunch of people. He's been called the Penguin.
I hear Oz so much, and the show. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's more natural. I mean,
it's natural that you wouldn't have caught it or remembered it because it's maybe happened less than 5 times, or maybe about 5 times in the entire series. It seems to be the thing that everybody whispers in the room, but nobody says it to his face, and so as the audience, we also don't hear it very often. So. That's true. It's the only time that you really feel bad for Oz early on is that, oh, look, they make fun of this poor guy with his limp, you know?
Yeah, his poor little leg.
Yeah.
Well, looking at the next episode, what do you think's gonna happen? I got a few thoughts.
Well, the chess pieces now. Oz has been kidnapped by the drunk corrupt cop that Sophia visits earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be taken to Sophia. I think we're going to get the whole James Bond, Daniel Craig when he's being tortured by Mads Mikkelsen in Casino Royale.
You think?
I think we're going to get that whole bit with Oz. I think Sophia's going to beat him up quite a bit. I think Francis is going to die. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen the way we think it's going to happen. I don't think it'll be Sophia who does it. I don't know who's going to be the one who does it, but Francis doesn't leave next episode out alive. And I think Vic shows up in the nick of time with all the other gangs to save Oz. I think that's what happens. So maybe we get a back and forth, but it could be one of those things where we don't see Vic all episode.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows up like freaking
the 11th hour.
Game of Thrones, the John Aaron Vale with Littlefinger rallying those troops for the Battle of the Bastards type of thing.
Such a good episode.
Yeah. That was peak Game of Thrones, right? That was
really good.
That was Apex Mountain.
Yeah.
Of Game of Thrones. Was it ever better than that? I think Hard Home, when Jon goes north of the wall to warn the wildlings, and the Night King shows up and does the whole shoulder shrug while Jon's moving away in the boat. He does that whole thing, and everybody comes to life. That was sick.
Yeah. That was good. It actually made the Night King seem formidable.
Battle of the Bastards, though, is definitely the best, like the most satisfying episode in all of Game of Thrones, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, what are your predictions for...
Back to this. I think you're right on a lot of this. I think we're not going to see Vic for most of the episode. I think he's going to show up in the 11th hour with an army. I don't think Francis is going to leave the episode, but I do think Sophia is going to be the one to do it. I think she's going to take that one last thing from Penguin, and then I think we're just going to see Penguin and his army overrun the Gigante family here, which doesn't seem like there's anybody else in the family but her at this point. Like, I mean, I haven't really seen many goons or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of how we're going to end it. I think Vic will still be alive at the end of the season, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think it'll be some sort of moment where the battle's going well, blah, 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 blah. The gang show up, but Sophia gets away and she takes Oz's mother with her or something like that. And then they have like a little bit of a showdown. Maybe she kills the mom, maybe he kills them. I don't know. But then it comes down to Vic. And she maybe thinks that Vic means something to Oz too or something like that. And then Oz just shoots him in the chair. Like, kind of just like, it means nothing to me. And he just shoots him in the chair or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Vic leaves the season alive, and I think Oz kills him. That's my bet.
Interesting. Okay, so we're rounding out the season with 2 bets, right?
What are our 2 bets?
I'm betting Sophia kills Francis.
Okay.
You're betting Oz kills Vic.
I'm taking the field. I'm taking the field on Francis. I don't think Sophia kills Francis. I think either Oz. I think that's fair. It's a fair bet. The field. It's like when Tiger Woods was in his prime, and you could either bet Tiger Woods or you could bet the field. I'm taking the field there for Francis, and then for Vic, Oz kills Vic, and you're saying Vic survives.
I'm saying Vic survives. Yeah, I think he lives.
I think we need a third bet
we do just in case somehow we're both magically right.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of what that might be.
Batman appearance.
I thought about that. Like partway through this episode, I was like, "Are we gonna just like?"
They should end the episode with. They should end the season with just like everything going down in the city.
I'm Batman.
And it just does a slow zoom, like a very slow zoom out, painfully slow zoom out.
Yeah.
And it's just Batman in his underwear, bro, like on top of a roof, just like far away, just the mask on, like I'm Batman, and just that's it.
I thought while I was watching this episode, I'm like, I feel like the final episode of the season is just going to be a trailer, like a really long trailer for the new Batman.
Well, do you think that, do you think we're going to get some sort of sneak peek into the direction of where the movie's going to go? Like, do you think they're going to present us with the conflict of
I feel like that would almost be a missed opportunity, man. Like everybody that you get into this show, just setting them up for like a little teaser for what you're gonna get in like an upcoming movie.
Yeah,
I mean that'd be pretty darn cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be upset by it. Like I feel like you could do that very tastefully.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. Let's get to categories.
Well, are you betting that Batman shows up in the next episode?
No, I'm not.
All right, that's probably a good bet. I don't think he's gonna show up.
You were hoping I would.
I would, of course. I mean, I will motivate bets like that for you.
Stupid.
All right, let's do a favorite character of the episode.
Is none an option?
Francis took it.
Oh, best performance of the episode, yeah, but I don't like Francis.
I don't like her either, but I mean, out of everybody else in this episode.
Yeah, she took it. To be honest, the winner of this episode was the guy at the end of the episode who said, but you know what I happen to see? It's the Penguin. He smacks him across the face. That was my favorite guy in the episode.
I bet it was. It's probably your favorite scene too, so let's get to favorite scene.
No, best scene was the Francis and Sophia moment, but I mean, as always, the whole episode was compelling. It was definitely, there wasn't a moment where I wanted the episode to end necessarily. And they leave us with a real cliffhanger. So I'll go with the Sophia Francis scene.
It was a really good scene. I also just really liked seeing the absolute confusion on Penguin's face with the G-Wagon that pulled up.
That was a fun scene.
Yeah, it was. So I'll give that one as like a runner-up.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about the episode?
I guess that one. The bomb and the G-Wagon.
Just the bomb, okay.
I'd love that G-Wagon. They could spare the bombs and just give me the G-Wagon.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'd take it. Yeah, it's a nice car. Any lines that stood out to you?
You're my big strong boy, Oswald. Oh hell no!
I don't think I can top that.
No, man, I don't.
This isn't a very line heavy show, honestly. Like there was just the whole conversation between Oz and Francis at the beginning of this was just
creepy.
It was so cringy. I'd probably pull some random line from there if I could think of it, but
I kind of like the line where he tells Vic, "F your guilt," like that. I thought that was pretty good. That was a pretty memorable line.
He's very. I mean, man, it just goes to him being so decisive again. Like he's very quick to make a judgment call on this. He's like waking him up, shaking him awake here.
Let's not get it twisted. Oz knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
In fact, if like one of the best parts that he says is when he's talking to his men in the cave and he's like, or the tunnels, and he says, I'm very grateful for you all. By the way, fun. It's a fun accent to just kind of, replicate. But when he's talking to his men, he says, you made a good decision defending your home, your investment. I'm grateful to you. That whole. By the way, the kid, as creepy as the kid was from the thing, he had the faces and the body language of Oz down packed.
Yeah. Yeah, the haircut too is killer.
Yeah.
Like greasy, like mop over or whatever.
Yeah. Ugh. No good.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for categories.
Cool. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning into this episode. We hope you are enjoying our coverage of Penguin, and we hope you're enjoying the show as well. We will see you next Sunday for the finale coverage of Penguin. We also have a lot coming up in the future on Story Archives. We have Silo just around the corner. Literally, Zach. I mean, we are next Sunday is what
it's like
9th, the
10th,
like 11th, 10th or 11th, and then that week we have Silo. So we're going straight into Silo, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so excited. Yeah,
so it's gonna be crazy. So literally, we'll have a new show, and we'll have a new president in the next week. So.
Wow.
We'll see what happens. It's gonna be a
busy week. It's gonna be
an interesting week, that's for sure, of what happens. So it's funny like that this grand showdown between Sophia and Oz is going on like in the middle of the election. It's like, it feels like some weird metaphor.
Yeah. What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But I am ready for the 15th.
I'll tell you this, if I was running an election in Gotham, I'd want Oz on my side. I feel like he would really know how to, grease the right wheels. You know what I mean? Yeah. At the end when he gets to Crown Point, he's like, "Thank you, councilman." That was actually a great line in the episode when he says, "Thank you, councilman."
You're right. That was pretty good.
Yeah. I was kidding about the line with his mother, but it is a memorable one when
it's memorable, but it's memorable because it's cringy as hell though. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, he literally always knows what to say, like in every moment, it seems. He gets himself into a lot of trouble, but he always finds the right words to get out of it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. All right, y'all, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next Sunday. Have a great, safe week. Take care, and thanks for tuning in.
All righty. Peace.